Alright guys, welcome back to my channel and please subscribe. Now we are already in the month of December and I would really like to look at who are the winners and who are the losers in this YouTube. Of course, Ayamara has been a big thing in Nyabuhanse, and not just Nyabuhanse but around the globe, because we have got reactors from different parts of the world reacting negatively to his uploads. However, I really want us to think about it on a serious note and look at it from a different perspective, whereby you're looking at a young man and the strides he has managed to make so far. It's clear that Ayamara's success is rubbing people the wrong way rather, because there's a video he did um, around 3 days ago where he just took his uncle Mo to show him the land he has already purchased, because I believe now his idea was to have a big ranch where he can have the animals, all kind of animals, and instead of it just being a home for himself, a farmstead, it's a place where people can come and visit and enjoy the serenity of the place. So this year alone, I think the guy, after traveling for quite some time, he decided to tone it down and focus a little bit on the village. And now that he has become a father, of course, he cannot travel the way he used to travel. Remember, this guy did not have a wife at the moment when he started traveling. Then Rocio came into the picture, and a child has come into the picture. Now he has another child by the name Mara Travels Company, Mara Tours. And don't forget that he has also imported horses, which is a huge investment and they require a lot of care. Now, putting all those things together, this is one human being who has tried to figure out that probably in future he may not be traveling as much as he was traveling in the past, and he will want to be in a situation where he can still manage to make a lot of money when he's not at home. That building is not being used, but he want to be in a position where when he's not at home, he's not at the village, he can enjoy his hobby of traveling. That's why it's called Travel Commando, and still make money while he's far. Instead of paying people to take care of his horses and to take care of his property and paying them using the money he makes from YouTube, he would rather let these properties and all the other investments that I've been making within the village accumulate so much money that I can use it to pay my employees and continue expanding his empire. Now, if you think about this guy, people would have wanted him to be literally the typical African young man who doesn't first of all think about his interests, but rather focuses on the interest of the community. And we are coming out of that situation. There's nothing wrong when a person looks at things collectively. And for people who do a lot of research and study, you will understand, like, we have cultures like the Amish, we have the Hasidic Jews, and we have the Somalis. And of course, here in Kenya, we have the Asians. More so, people from India, we call them Indians here. Those people, those groups, collectively, they do not have the individual, they do not focus on the individual interest, they focus on the community's interest. That's why it's very easy for them to live within the community. Now, recently, we've seen in the news globally that we've had a place like Minnesota in the United States of America, where the Somalis who fled from civil war in 1991, 1993, they were given a place by then the president, George W. Bush. And they thought it wise to settle in a place called Minnesota. And with time, they've grown the community to a point where these guys are 80,000 Somalis in the United States of America, one of the states called Minnesota. So, again, we have also another group called the Amish. Now, if you study the history of the Amish, it was also another religious group. By the way, I need you guys to look at them in this perspective. And I'm still on track. I'm not losing my main topic on Aya Marwa and his individual interest and whatever he pursues as an individual. I really want us to focus on how other cultures think as a group and why it's difficult for people like that in the village of Nyabohanse to think collectively as a group. Now we have the Somalis. Now Somalis, they identify themselves from a religious perspective. Now, why is it that we have so many young and old Africans in the United States of America, yet they do not have a collective term by which they define themselves? Yet here we have a group of people from Somalia who have come to the United States of America and they identify themselves as Somalis. Now, put that aside. We have the Amish. If you follow the story of the Amish were a group of Puritans in Europe at the time, I believe Germany and Dutch. Now, Christians were being persecuted. Now, when you're being persecuted, one of the ways is not fighting back, it's actually leaving the place where you're being persecuted and finding a new home where you are accepted. So, the Amish were accepted in the United States of America. But then when they came to the United States of America, they understood that the reason we are here is not that because we wanted to be here. We were escaping from a war. So in most cases, what you find is that this group of people, they tend to stay together because they understand their problems. They also understand their uniqueness in culture. And when you have a clear understanding of your culture and your identity, it becomes a little bit easier to grow. Now, once they're in a new place, they also kind of figure out we need to grow. And one of the best ways to grow is growing economically. Forget about even in numbers. There's nothing wrong with numbers as we've seen. But again, the most important kind of growth a group can experience when they go to another country is growing financially. So the Amish, they did not ditch their traditions, even though they were in a very advancing society, because the United States of America is not that conservative. Excuse me for that. It's not a conservative society. But again, we have people coming from all over the world. The Amish, and they're white, by the way, they're Caucasian. They come from Europe. They do not ditch their traditions. So what they do. They continue with their cultural views and perspectives towards life. So they are originally farmers. They love horses and they do not participate in politics. And all they love doing is farming and not integrating technology in any way. So that helps them to make sure that the money they make from their workmanship is solidly held within the community. And once they have a huge amount of money, what they do. Since they do not integrate with other communities, you're not going to find these people partying, wasting money on exotic cars and lavish lifestyles, yet they are making money. So that money is used to purchase more land. And then the birth rate within this community is always very high because they believe in having many kids. So we have the Amish who, in 10 years, their population, no, in 20 years, their population doubles. So if we had 500 Amish people in 2010. By 2030, you're expecting that we are going to have around 1 million Amish people in the country. So they continue to dominate in numbers. And then they are purchasing something like land, which helps them to grow. And when we talk about land, this is where a little bit of similarity comes in between Ayamara and his advanced thinking pattern. Because he knows in future, land is going to be a big thing. Remember when he went back to the village, he made sure that the villagers are sensitized and are aware that there's this new thing called YouTube, which can help you accumulate money. And once you have money, you can do whatever you want to do with it. More so in developing the village. So here he is, purchasing land. And here we are, the Amish also purchasing a large pieces of land. They keep horses and they're farmers. And their religion is still growing in number. Because remember, these people they do not look forward towards converting people to become Amish. Because they also understand that's a very difficult lifestyle. It's not meant for everybody. So what they do is they give birth to a lot of children, and then these children continue living within those standards. And you see, when you're radicalized to do something and you kind of view it as a lifestyle, it's very difficult for you to view life from a different angle. Now, we move on to another group. We have the Jews, the Hasidic Jews. No, I don't think you people are so ignorant that you don't know that the current day Israel was originally not there. That's a country that was planted there probably in 1946 by the Caucasians. Now, what happened is the Jews and the religion, they succeeded a lot in Germany, and Germans would not have it. So what they ended up experiencing is a genocide that had a lot of Jews killed in Germany. And the Jews decided, now we don't have a choice, we have to flee from Germany. And one of the places they found home is in the United States of America. So if you go to New York, I've never been there, but if you go to New York, there's a place where we have a lot of Hasidic Jews. Now, this is another very conservative society. They believe in the ideas and promotion of community interest as opposed to individualistic interests. So, this is a group of people who have a very unique, by the way, education system, and their children are radicalized to think in a particular way. And the interest of the community supersedes that of an individual. So it becomes a little bit easier even for them to negotiate as a community because you see, when united, it's very easy for politicians and other influential people to negotiate with you. When you operate as an individual, it becomes a very difficult task. Now, I want you guys to go and search about the Jews in general. They're conservative Jews. You just go and Google conservative Jews or the Hasidic Jews. Could be in the United States of America or in other countries around the globe. And that's how we have, by the way, the Jews controlling the whole world. These people are just so empowered. They have money, they have companies, they have resources, they have the media, they're everywhere. And financial empowerment is very, very important because you can always persuade a leader to make policies that work in benefit of yours as opposed to fighting you, which is a very huge and a good advantage. Now let's go back to our boy Ayamaro. Ayamaro does not think from a collective way. He wanted it to be that way. He wanted the village to, first of all, figure out something for them. And then, because one of the biggest advantage is that as a village, they did not need to purchase land. They already have land which is very fertile. From there, they can build a community where people can be coming to visit. Do you know in the United States of America, people travel to the Amish communities and tour towards the Amish community to study their lifestyle. And this is the exact thing that Ayamara wanted to have. A village where people have a collective way of seeing things and people have a collective way of advancing their village. Now, if you look closely at this moment, we've had visitors from the United States of America, especially, coming to the village. And I saw in one video, there's a certain YouTuber and from the United States of America. She and her daughter visited Mapopo, and then they went to Nastor's place, among others. And you kind of start understanding that this is not just a village. This is a village that Ayamara wanted to be a touristic destination. There are so many villages in the world where tourists prefer to go and visit. Now think about the Maasais of Kenya. People travel all over the world to come and meet this unique community. Think about people like in Tanzania we have the Hadzabe tribe. People travel all over the world to come and visit that tribe. Why? Because they have a solid identity. Now Ayamara wanted something similar. Excuse me. And this video, by the way, is going to be very raw and unfiltered. I'm not going to edit anything. I'm just going to release it as it is. Whatever is happening with me right now is just a normal human experience. But anyway, this is what I was saying. Ayamara is a guy who saw something in the future and he wanted his village to be part of it. I wouldn't be surprised because you see, when you see people like Mayukno, he has a house and now he's building a villa, and everybody else is building villas all over. Those houses are not just houses. These guys probably want those houses to be more like farmstays, where we have guests coming in, paying a particular amount of money, and mark you, this village, excuse you, mark you, this village is now being marketed as a high value village. So the amount of money that would be paid to come and visit the village is also high. And then if they start farming, organic foods, there's a lot people can come to learn about the village. And Ayamaro is just at 5 years old, so he's in his early stages of investment in the village. So by the time we're talking about 5 years from now, he might start now seeing returns. And I heard that he's also building a swimming pool. Of course, we'll have guests who prefer to come, and just enjoy the quiet environment, uh, watching birds and doing all those things. So yeah, Ayamaro has it figured out, and I'm highly rooting for him and his success. So please, guys, subscribe to this channel. There are a lot of videos I've uploaded, at least that 2 videos, but I do not only focus on this perspective that I give. I do not only give opinions here. There are other things that I do, and until I identify a particular niche which I can give more energy into it. So until then, keep it locked here, and please and kindly subscribe. And thanks a lot for watching this video. I'm going to definitely catch you in the next one. Thank you so much.